Welcome, Aries, to the month of December 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and or rising signs in the first fiery sign of Aries the Ram. Now, the month starts out on December 1st when Mercury moves into Scorpio into your 8th house at 11:13, at which time also on December 1st it sextiles the moon. And the moon would be or will be in your 6th house in the earthy sign of Virgo. And so it'll make a sextile. Mercury will sextile the moon. So from your 8th to your 6th houses, you now have this short but sweet, pleasant, general sense of the possibility of being able to communicate and ask from others' resources, as the 8th house deals with others' resources, and the ability to ask quite emotionally for a good raise, or in a sense, a leg up, And that happens at 14 hours, 50 minutes. Then on December 2nd, Venus, which has been in your 7th house in Libra, moves into Scorpio, into your 8th house at 17 hours, 3 minutes. Then on December 3rd, the following day, Uranus, which has been in, or was, or is going to be going in, or did go in, or will be going into your sign, Aries, into your 1st house of the self and body, will then oppose and make do the 180 and make an opposition to the moon in your opposite sun sign of Libra. Now, with this opposition, and as I like to say, the point of awareness, because without the polarity, there is no sense of the ability for awareness. I have quite a few oppositions from these very houses, from the 7th with all my Pisces in the 7th house of others and relationships, opposing a couple of planets in with my Virgo rising. So with this moon in your 7th house of others opposing the planet Uranus in your sign of Aries in your 1st house, you may very well want to be aware emotionally about maybe how you impulsively treat others, but see, since the moon is in Libra, it'll be like a sense of balance and justice and integrity, and so, but however, this moon opposition to Uranus in your sign, you may very well want to be sure that you don't emotionally, like, so to speak, fly off the handle, and gather that awareness into yourself and not do anything too impulsively or too rash in any way, because this can be possible, maybe accident prone perhaps, and you rule the head, so just be careful that you don't bump your head on something like a kitchen cabinet or something. And that's also something to keep in mind. Then Let's see. Before the moon moves into Scorpio, and that'll happen at 19 hours 56 minutes, the same day, December 3rd. Then December 5th, 2 days later, Mercury conjuncts the moon. Now that the moon is now in, see this energy in your 8th house? Now, Mercury conjuncting the moon also will give you a sense of mental and emotional, I don't necessarily want to say combativeness, but there will be kind of like a charged intensity as Scorpio rules this house, as CUC Scorpio is in your 8th house. Moon in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, now Venus here in Scorpio. So there's an emotional intensity with the way you communicate or come across. And however that could maybe be to your benefit, you may very well be able to ask even more so for help from others as resources, or maybe have super intense sweet nothings, as also the 8th house deals with sex, death, and taxes. Okay, so then on December 7th, Mercury was retrograde, but on December 6th it goes direct. Now, okay, so that happens at 21 hours, 23 minutes. Then on December 7th, at 7:22, the new moon occurs in your 9th house along with the sun in Sagittarius. Now, I love it when the moon is in Sagittarius because it brings on a very joyful, very happy sense of being able to emotionally open up and express your joy. And with it in a very favorable house such as the 9th house, there's the ability to take on maybe possibly new philosophical viewpoints with this new moon experience. Then, and that happens at 15 degrees Sagittarius, by the way, and 7 minutes. And then, and if you've noticed, Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, is also very favorable at this time for the other fire sign of Sagittarius, but also for you too, because you're both fire signs. Wonderful. And then on December 8th, Uranus trines the moon as it's still in the new, see, look at how I put the trine symbol behind the angel here. By the way, this is peace on earth. See, the angel here is positioned on earth. And so Uranus will harmoniously trine the new moon phase, or the new moon in Sagittarius. And this then too will bring you quite a bit of harmony with your body and within your self, the physical self of your body, and or even your emotional self, because we're dealing with new viewpoints, philosophical viewpoints, maybe you'll even be going back to college. Then on December 10th, Uranus squares the moon. Once the moon goes into your 10th house of career, public standing, and ego, and now squares the moon in Capricorn. And this then gives you that feeling of emotional the drive to make emotional changes quite suddenly about yourself within your career. Then, on December 12th, Mercury moves into your 9th house as well. Now, Mercury moves into the sign of Sagittarius at 23 hours 44 minutes. Then on December 13th, Uranus sextiles the moon once the moon moves into your 11th house of friendships, hopes, goals, and wishes in the sign of Aquarius, and then makes the short but sweet 60-degree positive aspect between your emotions within your group endeavors and with your friends, and positively sextiles Uranus in your sign, giving you that sense of the ability to maybe even realize your goals. Then on December 15th, the first quarter moon occurs in Pisces, in your 12th house of the subconscious mind and dreams. And so this will be, the first quarter moon, 23 degrees Pisces, 27 minutes, and first, like stemming from the new moon, perhaps you'll experience new horizons in your ability to dream, and not just sleeping in the sleep state. Then on December 15th as well, the sun squares the moon in Pisces. Since the sun is in Sagittarius, and I'm just knocking these tags all around, aren't I? And okay, so this then gives you that ability to emotionally tap into your subconscious mind in a much more higher state of awareness, because the ninth deals with the higher mind, or spiritual matters, if you will, if you're into that sort of thing. And then on December 18th at 7:22, Uranus conjuncts the moon. Now, Uranus in your sign of Aries conjuncts the moon now in Aries in your first house of the self and body. And once again, you're going to need to be mindful. Use that noggin of yours. And, in other words, really listen. Possibly try to listen to your intuition with all of this spiritual. Look at Neptune in Pisces, Mars in Pisces, in your 12th house. The Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter in Sagittarius, both very, very connected to, and as we gear toward Christmas, no less, there's a spirit of spirituality, And anyway, but however, with this Uranus conjunct the moon position or transit, again, I implore you to be mindful of watching out for any kind of injuries to your head, or any kind of sudden impulsive activity that could injure your body at this time. And only on that other day and this particular day, that would be December 18th. Then December 20th, At 0 hours 43 minutes, your ruling planet Mars sextiles the moon. Now we have the short but sweet, again, now coming from the 2nd to the 12th houses, Mars in Pisces sextiles the moon in Taurus, giving you that ability to come to terms with your sense of intrinsic values known only to you, and they are the ability to tap into your dreams and perhaps understand your or develop your values even in a more deeper, more like, in other words, stabilizing your finances and so forth. I don't know how to explain it, but I hope I said it enough there. Then on December 21st, the sun enters Capricorn as Saturn, its ruler, and Pluto, also in Capricorn, are in your 10th house. Now the sun enters your 10th house. So, and that happens at 22 hours, 24 minutes. And that will give you even more of a drive toward securing things up for the holidays, you know, toward something you're working on in your career. And it will, in other words, more of a drive to be more responsible in what you're pursuing, and it'll be fruitful nonetheless. It's going to be good. And let's see. Then on December 22nd at 14 hours 22 minutes, Uranus sextiles the moon in this direction. So Uranus is still in your sign of Aries, sextiling the moon now in Gemini in your 3rd house of communications. Again, a short but sweet 60-degree positive emotions, positively being able to express yourself emotionally and impulsively, of course. But in this sense, because we are gearing toward Christmas time, even more so than the moon in Sagittarius, somewhat of even more of a buoyant, happy, I don't know how to explain it, but very, very, just being very, I don't know, like sudden outbursts of playfulness, you know, that kind of happiness, that joy that comes about. Then on December 22nd as well, the full moon occurs in your 4th house of the home in Cancer at 0 hours 49 minutes in your 4th house of the home. So here we have the axis of the house of, I think they call it, this is the 4th house of the endings, and this is the 10th house is also known as the 10th house of the, it's like the pinnacle of some sort. But this is an axis nonetheless of, and with the full moon here, it's an axis of shining or illuminating a light on needing peace within the home, but as well as, in other words, perhaps balancing nurturing, Cancer, nurturing, the need to set aside career needs to be at home. And then on Christmas Eve, December 24th, Uranus squares the waning full moon. And again, once again, there's a lot of impulsivity. Perhaps, again, you'll have like great outbursts, sudden surprises, perhaps, joyous. But with the square, maybe some challenges. Maybe the Christmas lights won't work all that well because Uranus deals with electricity. Maybe the Christmas lights won't, maybe they short and you have to go out and get a spare, you know what I mean? Like, or something happens perhaps that where it may be a tiny bit irritating, but you'll be able to get past it. Then on, oh, and by the way, Merry Christmas, and I'll get to that. Then on the following day, the day after Christmas, at 15 hours 38 minutes, Uranus trines the moon. Once the moon comes into your 5th house, there's a lot of my dog's hair. I call it her eyelash hair. Anyway, Uranus harmoniously trines the moon in Leo, okay, and into your 5th house of romance and creativity. And so now this trine then gives you the ability to emotionally, harmoniously express yourself in new and innovative ways. You know, in other words, maybe if you were a little shy, now you're not. And then on December 28th at 16 hours 28 minutes, your ruling planet Mars in Pisces makes an opposition to the moon in Virgo. Now the moon in Virgo in your 6th house of health, work, and service given. And with this opposition from Mars, your ruling planet, to the moon in its opposite sign in Virgo, this then gives you perhaps the emotional ability to be aware of your need, your emotional need for alone time and not so much working so darn much, you know. And anyway, it's the holidays, so perhaps you have a week to 2 weeks off, you know. Maybe you've asked for the time off. Then on December 29th at 9:35, the last quarter moon occurs in your opposite, coming full circle pretty much, in your opposite sun sign of Libra into your 7th house of others. Last quarter moon at 7 degrees Libra, 36 minutes. Now, anything that needed to be taken care of in the sense of maybe with perhaps business partners, because it deals with others and also business partners, but as well as significant others, can be taken care of. Any last quarter, last moment details that may have needed to be squared away. Then on December 30th, at 22 hours 55 minutes, Uranus again. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's not not Mars, but Uranus. Gosh, there's a lot of Uranus aspects this month. But Uranus now makes an opposition to the last quarter phase moon. So from your 1st to your 7th houses, now this opposition gives you the awareness that you emotionally need to not only tend to others, but yourself as well. So it gives you the ability or the awareness to balance yourself. And with that, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year! Woohoo! I'm so glad 2018 is over. If you're with me on that, please comment down below and let me know how 2018 worked out for you. And if you enjoyed watching my reading, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and or subscribe to my channel, North Star Astrology. And thank you for looking up upon the North Star. Bye for now. I'll see you next year.